Good evening, good evening, good evening. A Better You Lifestyle. And I'm your host, Willie A. Price of Willie A. Price Speaks. And we are doing a special edition of the show today, actually doing it early. We normally come on at 8 o'clock, but today the Buffalo Bills are playing for an opportunity to go to the AFC East Championship. I believe it is AFC Championship. So we're doing this early so we can get ready for the game tonight at 6:30. But I want to talk a little bit about A Better You Lifestyle and what the show is. This show is a weekly show, comes on every Sunday at 8 o'clock. This week, we're doing Making Your House Your Home, which is our fourth Sunday. But we start out every month. The first of the month, we start out, our first week is Understanding Your You, where it's all about you, understanding who you are and what your specialized skills and abilities are, and just understanding who you are so you can take your skills and your development to the next level. Self-esteem, self-awareness, all those kind of things is what we talk about on that first week. On our second week, we do A Mother's Love. And A Mother's Love is doing the same things with our children, helping our children to better understand who they are and what their abilities are so they can be successful as well. So we do a lot of things with young people. We do a lot of things with young men. I talk about some of the programs that I do in the schools and in the community, and I'll talk about right brain learning. And that's one of the techniques I do with a lot of the programs that I do in the schools and programs is right brain learning. So we do that on A Mother's Love, which is the second week. Our third week is Financially You, where we talk about how you can create generational wealth and wealth for yourself. We don't teach you how to get rich. We talk about how to become wealthy. We don't want anybody to be rich. We want everybody to be wealthy. So that means you're creating income for yourself where you're able to go out and create opportunities to create more than one stream of income. If you work in a job, that's fine, but also having some separate streams of income so that way you will have funds coming in to help you to become wealthy and be able to teach those things to your children and your family and create generational wealth. Our fourth week, Making Your House Your Home. This year, we are doing a 1-year plan on how to become a homeowner or an investor or whatever the case may be with real estate, showing you how all the benefits of owning real estate, as well as if you don't want to be an owner, how to go into like different aspects of real estate, starting real estate businesses, for example, property inspections, property management, property maintenance, all those kind of things dealing with real estate. So we're talking about making your house your home. And we also talk a little bit about that in Financially You. But with making your house your home, we do a lot of things with real estate. And that's our subject today. I talked about creating a 1-year plan on becoming a homeowner or an investor. A lot of times people get kind of stagnant and they want to get into real estate, but they're not sure what it takes or what they need to do that. And so I wanted to kick off this year, 2022, our 1-year plan to making your house your home, creating your own home, getting your own home, whether it's a single family, a double, 3 units, whatever the case may be, if you want to be an investor. And I wanted to bring on a friend of mine who I've known for a while, but recently we've been on a show together, the Counselor's Corner. And we do that show every Monday night at 9 o'clock. And I know she's really knowledgeable about real estate, and she does a lot with real estate, helping a lot of people get homes and getting their first home. And she works with a program that she's going to talk to you guys about and share with you. So I think it's very interesting. And make sure you share this, like and share this, because people are going to want to learn this information. She's got a lot of information about home ownership, and she's going to introduce you to that information. Her name is Lakia Perry. She's a realtor, and she works with a company called NACA, where she works with them to help first-time home buyers, and she's going to talk about that program to you guys. So with no further ado, because we're not going to be on long tonight, not too long anyways. We normally go about an hour, but I want to bring her on because we want to talk about real estate, and I'm going to ask her some questions. And if you have questions, you can also, let me set up the thing here so I can see your questions just in case I miss some. I don't want to miss your questions. So if you have any questions, put your questions in the comment section and we'll be able to answer those questions because, again, this is all about a better you lifestyle. So it's all about you making your house your home, which is what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to bring on Miss Lakia Perry, who's a realtor. Hello, Lakia.
Hi, Mr. Price. How are you?
How are you, Mr. Price?
I
I
know,
said,
right? I'm
I
trying to be
said,
a little
Lakia,
professional
we
for
call him
you.
Mr. Price. They think I'm your uncle or somebody. Mr.
Right.
Price.
All right, Will. All right.
My students don't even call my track kids don't even call me Mr. Price.
They call you Coach Price, don't they?
They
Coach
call me
Will or
Price.
Coach Price.
Price.
Oh.
Coach Price. Price. And I'm like, yo, what's my name? Price. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Well, it's out of respect.
So how are you?
I am well by the grace of God. Yeah, so
Great,
all is well.
great. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming on. I was telling the people that we share a show with the Counselors Corner on Monday nights, and that's we've known each other for a while, but that's when we
Hmm.
really connected through the show and just learning about you and your program. And as a matter of fact, I forgot to tell the people, I actually took the training for NACA so I could also become a first-time home buyer, which people know I've owned houses before, but through this program, I can become a first-time home buyer as well. So as well as teaching you guys and helping you guys prepare, I'm trying to prepare also. I may eventually buy another home. I doubt it, but we'll see what happens. So Lakia, I'm just going to jump right in and just ask you to tell who is Lakia Perry.
Who am I? Okay, well, again,
Yes, who
Lakia
are you?
Perry, right? Real estate agent, mother of six. I'm always proud of that. But just enjoy, being a servant, helping people find homes, but help people in general. I've always called myself a servant because before real estate, I worked in the hospital, doing supervising for our outpatient mental health floor, which was so rewarding as well in different ways. Being exposed, just having that experience and just worked in different, helping people go through education, helping people find, work on their credit, helping people just do different.
Oh shit! What did I do?
Yeah, you over there messing up.
I'm
You over there
sorry.
messing.
I'm
You gotta
moving
get
stuff
comfortable. You
around.
ain't supposed to get comfortable.
I'm
This
sorry.
is the interview.
I was
I
moving.
know.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I just cut off a little bit there.
But yeah, I'm just always a person that just like to help people. So I had a business. I was a business owner. I'm an entrepreneur. So I had a business called Yvonne's Bakery and Cafe. It survived for a year, which I'm grateful, but I had to let it go. And so after that, I said, I just was praying. I said, what is the next thing I'm going to do? And real estate came to mind. I've always loved looking at homes. Even if I just drove past the home and the people had their windows, it was curtains open and just these big homes and you're just driving by and just enjoying seeing them. So it is a passion of mine because I say it's retail therapy for me, shopping with other people's money. And so it's a joy for me. And like when someone finds a home, I feel like I can feel like that's their home when I walk in. But even when some clients may have went to an open house and saw the home, and then when I finally saw it, I was like, okay, this is them. So I take on my clients like their burdens and their hopes and
Right.
their passion and what as well. I'm looking for a home, so that's who I
So
am.
like a little.
That's
Why
a
am
little piece of who I am. So much more.
I getting an echo here all of a sudden?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Mm-mm. Not on my
But
end.
can you hear me?
I hear you well.
Okay. So yeah, so basically when you help them, you kind of get a sense of pride of yourself that, it's not only their home, it's part of your home too, because you help them find it.
And we become family.
Right.
They're now we're like family now. They know they can call me anytime because they've already did it. Called me at any time, text me at any time, and got a response. So we're family now. After that, and it is a
Right.
joy for me.
How long have you been in real estate? How long have you been doing the realtor?
7 years.
Wow.
I first started off with Howard Hanna with the Grand Island, New York office, and I moved over to Lewiston under the Lewiston office, and I was part of a team. Ezra Scott and Noel Gully. We were all a team for with Howard Hanna, and that was when I was exposed to um, NACA. That's when
Okay.
we had a person that had received the approval from NACA. And as our team, I was one of the ones that would go and show the homes. And one of the counselors there had approached me and said, "Hey, won't you, think about becoming an agent, an in-house agent?" And Ezra had mentioned it before. He had thought about doing it and he never went into that direction. I said, hey guys, I'm gonna go for it and see how it goes for at least 6 months and then reevaluate from there. And now 3 years, almost 3 years later, in March, I've been still with him, going strong.
Great. We got Dave. Dave joined us. Hey, Dave.
I see Dave. Hey, peeps. These are my peeps.
Okay.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Definitely. Well, so we've both mentioned NACA. So can you tell what is NACA? I know that's not the name of it, but those are acronyms. So tell us what is NACA, and a little bit about NACA and what are some of the benefits. And I'll ask you some questions about that as well.
NACA stands for Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America. And it's that because it's all throughout the United States of America, even Hawaii. So
Wow.
it's all across the United States.
All
And
right.
the reason,
Hold 1 second. People, I may be buying a house. Now that I know it's in Hawaii,
right?
I may decide to go ahead and buy a house again. So go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I had to let them know I might be moving.
Right. So we're all throughout the United States, and they created a great program after you know just fighting against a lot of predatory lending. Bruce Marks, who's our CEO, worked very hard along with his fellow colleagues and members that were volunteering that had experienced predatory lending when they were losing their homes because interest rates were so high, and they went after like Wells Fargo Bank. They went after like just various banks, and then now with Bank of America that now are financing their loans to help people in the low to moderate income families to purchase a home outside of the traditional scope of things that traditional banks do. So that meaning the majority of times when someone goes and try to get a loan for a home, the scary part is what your credit score. Like what who created this whole thing about credit score anyway, but okay. We understand we need it, but with NACA was like no, sometimes people hit hard times unexpectedly, and just unforeseen circumstances that happen in life that can affect your credit score. So NACA said, hey, let's create a program with Bruce Marks with his team created a program which is they don't look at your credit score, they look at your credit history but not your credit score.
Okay.
And they look at your make sure that you have some type of permanent income for the past 2 years. You could be a business self-employed but at least have taxes for at least 2 years. They look at your bank statements because you do have to have some money save to pay for minimum required funds and to show that you can pay your mortgage on time. So there are some requirements that you do have to follow. If you want to go into it, we can. So the
Yeah.
few of the things is you have to um, have maintained employment for 2 years and not have a gap for more than 30 days. If I think pregnancy is one of the things that are one of the waivers of that. And we know that COVID has happened and a lot of people lost their jobs, but you
Right.
have to have some type of employment permanent. Like if you're on, you could even be on Social Security disability and purchase a home and get approved, but you have to show that you've been able to pay your rent for the past 2 years, or at least within for the year, um, not being late. And they'll, send a letter out to your landlord or to your property manager, whomever takes care of that information for you. And you have to show that through your bank statement that you pay your rent on time every month. So that is what usually most of the members, when you become a member with NACA, you have to first start with the workshop, as Willie said he attended. And it's a free workshop. Um, you will get approved based on most of the time based on how much you're paying rent right now, because you have shown for a year you've been able to maintain that amount with your income, um, and that's what you'll be approved for you to be able to start shopping with your mortgage, along with not having any
So,
judgments in the last 2 years on
so
your
Becky's asking a question. She said, "What's the requirement?" So the first requirement is really no requirement, right? You just have to take the course first. That's
the
the first
workshop.
requirement.
The first
The
requirement is the
workshop.
workshop. I know I'm bouncing
And
around. So first
no,
requirement is
no,
the
no,
workshop.
that's okay. I just want to let her know that is actually the first requirement is taking that free workshop, and
And
it's
it's a 4 hour.
about 4 hours. It's
Yes,
about
it
four
is.
hours, Becky. I took it, and bring your lunch. But it takes about 4 hours, and they give you a code at the end of it that you have to utilize that code within like 2 hours and make your file
Web
that
file.
you create your file, and then you contact them with the with your file information, and they'll have all that together, right? Is that something like
So more in depth, more detailed is that you get that number to create your web file, and in your web file you have to upload your documents. These
that?
are the things that your bank statements for the past months, your pay stubs for the last month, your W-2 and your tax returns. You want to have that available on your. You can go through the IRS website, and I'm sorry, I'm like somebody.
That's okay.
That was my son on his phone. I apologize.
That's okay.
Okay, I had to yell at him real quick. And and you upload your bank statements, any income that you have. If you have your lease, upload your lease. If
Oh,
you
wow.
don't have one, that's okay. When you after at the end you make an appointment, your mortgage counselor will have a form that you can give to your landlord to fill out to confirm that you've been paying your rent on time. But yes, the tax returns, pay stubs, bank statements, any child support, SSI, SSD, any endpoint. If you are Section 8, people can purchase a home
I was going to ask you that.
Section 8. Yeah, I've helped several clients purchase home that are on Section 8. And
Okay.
they have their own system of calculating that for you. So your mortgage counselor takes care of that more
And the
so for you.
one thing you said that doesn't apply, they don't use your credit score, right?
No, they don't use your credit score, but they will look at your credit report.
Credit
So
history, right?
credit
They'll look
history,
at the
yes.
credit
So
history, but not the credit score.
yes, and you can have like a 400, and
Okay.
that's
That's
okay.
what I was going to ask you, whether a number,
Does
not,
not
that
matter,
doesn't matter at all.
not at all.
Because
The
mine is 8. So would they allow me with an 8 to?
can with an 8. Yep. No, they will not hold that against you.
Okay.
This will
That's
actually, when you buy a home, it will help you. No, if it's going to help you,
fine.
whatever. However you view that, that's what it will be. But
Great.
what I'll say is that you do have to pay before you make your appointment. It's $13 and some change for them to get your credit report. And I'm
Okay.
gonna tell you what you're looking for. They're looking for make sure that you had no judgments or liens in the past 2 years, no bankruptcies in the past 2 years. So you could have had bankruptcy or liens or judgments previously, but not within the past 2 years. Okay.
Okay.
Just showing that if you do have credit cards, that you're on time with your credit card payments for the last year or two. They want to make sure that your student loans, that you're not in default. You want to make sure that you are deferment with your student loans, and they will want you to, if you're not making any student loan payments and they're deferred at this time, they would have you upload in your web file if if you were to make payments, how much that payment would be. So you can always contact your student loan company and say,
Okay.
hey, if I was making payments on my loan. Not that I'm trying to start, but if I did, they will allow you to do that. Can you send me a letter saying what that would be? And they will send that to you as well.
Okay.
So those are the
Great.
things that they're looking for. But if it's something that is questionable, I'm going to encourage everyone, do not just assume that you won't qualify. These counselors know what to look for and what you can do. Sometimes they'll ask you to write a letter of explanation. That's called LOE acronym, a letter of explanation.
Hmm.
So, and if it's something that's happened, or like I said, had a hard times, or you had a car and the car you got in a car accident, and you still had to pay the rest of that car off, but you couldn't pay it off because because of the circumstances, you had to get a new one, whatever. Just write the letter, and that will help you still be able to continue with the process. So the best thing I would tell anyone, just upload all the documents as much as possible. Schedule that appointment. You also have to pay at before you schedule your appointment $25 for the membership fee. It because it is a non-for-profit organization. They they were non-for-profit organizations. When you have members, you have to charge them some type of fee. And so the
Okay.
lowest that they could charge was $25, and that's what they did. They went with the lowest amount, so it's $25 a year. And if you
So now
find a
it's a
home,
year. Okay, 25 a year.
until you find a home,
Okay.
so you
So
find
now,
a home.
once you find a home, how does that work then?
I don't believe they come for you after that for the
Okay.
$25. No,
Okay.
I believe that's just up to the point of you finding a home.
And so the $25 is basically just like you said, just a membership fee because of being a nonprofit and doing these workshops. It shows like basically who's on the roll that you're working with also.
Yes, and also where it's sometimes I want to share, but there is they want members to participate in
Okay.
volunteering. So a way that you can help volunteer is making sure you vote. Voting is like it's not a government program, and that's what I wanted
Hmm.
to share. It's not a government assisted program. This is all the loans are funded by Bank of America. So it's not, but you can't go to Bank of America and say, hey, I went to NACA. They won't. That won't work. You will not receive the same benefits. But you have to go through NACA to get these benefits that I will share with you shortly.
Now, do you have to be a first-time home buyer, or how does that work?
No, you do not have to be a first-time home buyer. You could have owned property previously, but you cannot own like so if you own property now, you would have to sell it because it is not
Oh,
for investors. The only way
okay.
that you can be an investor is that NACA will allow you to purchase a multifamily home. And in a multifamily home, you have to live in one of the units. You can have up to a four apartment multifamily home, and you have to live in one of the units, and the other ones can be rented out. You can Airbnb it out, however what you ever want to do for those other apartment or apartments. But that's the only kind of investors that they're looking for, that they will allow you to be. But if you have a home, you have to sell it before you purchase a home through NACA.
Okay, because that was actually, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up because that was going to be one of my questions as to how many units that you can buy. Because I talk about this, I've talked about it on my show before when we talk about making your house your home, that a lot of times people think as a first-time home buyer that they have to buy a single family home. And I'm telling them, I said, in these programs, you can buy up to 4 units. And people don't realize that they go out and they buy a single family home and they may be able to make the payments. But just imagine if you bought a double or a 3 unit or 4 unit. Now you have help in case you got laid off or, like you said, got in a car accident or whatever the case may be. You would still have a stream of income to help you pay your mortgage, help you get growth, whatever things you need to meet
You have
until
rental
you're able to
income.
get back on your
And
feet.
they will
Right,
allow you to have rental income. There's some people that have multifamily homes and they're not paying mortgage at all. Their renters are paying the mortgage.
right.
But
And
you have
that's
to
the
remain
benefit.
living in the property.
And you only have to, I know this is getting a little tricky here because I'm always talking to the people, but you only have to live in that unit for a certain amount of years, though, right?
So,
If
as long the life of the loan, as
longer
long
the
as you
life
stay
of
the
the loan.
life of the
Okay,
loan.
so they have to live in the life of the loan.
Because
Okay,
if you pay
so
it off
then that's
sooner, and there's no penalties for paying it off your mortgage
paying it
sooner,
off. Okay.
then you can move after that.
Yeah. So when we talk about, like she just said, paying the house off sooner, there's something we talk about in Financially You, and I'll be talking about that in Financially You, how you can pay off those mortgages a lot earlier by
Mhm.
making just one extra payment, a year will help you save like 6 to 7 years. So just imagine if you made a couple extra payments on that mortgage, you could actually pay that house off early and then, you know, get get yourself that single family home that you've been looking for, but now you've got 4 units to help you pay that mortgage on that single family home that you go out and buy.
Yeah, and it's all about just being smart with it. You could have if you have a 4 unit, you could take one that's paying off the mortgage. You could have another one that could be paying for the upkeep of the property. Another one you
Mhm.
saving, or then also putting more additional payments onto the property. So in the
Right.
mortgage, you can pay it off. And there's a lot of people that's been doing that. But you can also take out a 15-year mortgage opposed to a 30-year mortgage.
Right.
And
And see, a lot of people don't think about it.
And actually and I want to share the interest rates with NAC. That's another benefit. It's the lowest interest rate throughout the country right
Mm.
now. Interest rates are soaring. They're going up. From past summer, our interest rate was as low as 1%.
Wow.
Yeah, it's up to 2.625 today. It fluctuates, but outside of NACA and other traditional loans, they're right 3.75 right now. And there's a big difference. It's the interest rate is what's paying the bank for you purchasing that mortgage through the bank, through the lender. So I wanted to share some numbers about that. And you can, like you said, do a 30-year mortgage, or you can be a 15-year mortgage. If you can afford a 15-year, the interest rate for that is right now with NACA is 1.875.
1 point.
15, yeah, 1.875. So it's
Wow.
lower than the 30-year. But it's still less years, so the number could be higher for the
The payments are
monthly
going to be
mortgage.
higher.
Yes.
Yeah, the
So
payments are going to be higher.
I share with people, it's called the Carl's Mortgage Calculator. You can use any mortgage calculator, but I use the Carl's, it starts with a K, mortgage calculator. And if you were to put in the purchase price, so if you were to put in the purchase price of 150,000, I'm gonna say like the taxes, and we're gonna talk about taxes too, because taxes are a game changer.
Yes.
Um, Taxes, if you put a taxes, I'm going to go a little high on this today, because that's where they're climbing. And if depending on what area that you're looking in, it could be as high or higher than 4,300 a year. So
Wow.
4,300 for the year. Insurance, everyone's insurance is going to be different because insurance is based off your credit score.
Mm.
So I'm gonna use a 600 as a medium number. And then you have your interest rate with NACA is 2.625. But as I mentioned before, if you're outside traditional bank, it could be as high as 3.75, 4.25. And that is going, so in saying that with a 30-year, with $150,000, 150,000 purchase price for a home. That's the medium right now, but that's climbing. So I want people to know that
Mhm.
that number is climbing for medium, the medium of a purchase of a home.
And that's a single family home, people.
Single family, and actually that's like I'm going off of Buffalo numbers. If
Okay.
you were to step out of Buffalo and you go in, and I'm only familiar with Buffalo right now, guys. So
Mhm.
that's why it's very important to get with a real estate agent in your area, so they can give you a better understanding what the homes are going for in your area, what the taxes are, and it is public knowledge as well. So you can always call the city hall of any municipality and ask for taxes on a house. And some have it on websites, so it is out there. You could get this information. But just to quickly, if it's $150,000 home, taxes 4,300, insurance 600, interest rate 2.625 on a 30-year, your mortgage can be $1,000, $10. But if you have taxes, those same 150,000, with the taxes only being 1,500, um, that's the game changer. I said the taxes,
Mhm.
but everything else being the same, your mortgage will only be $778. So the taxes are the game changer, but also the insurance is the interest rate is the game changer, because the interest rate, if it was 3.75 for a $150,000 home, $1,500 in taxes for the year, your mortgage monthly would be $870 because of the increase in the interest rate. So that's almost like $100 increase in your mortgage payment, give and take. Again, the insurance, so these are just estimates, excuse me, give and take. Now, if it was a 15-year mortgage, the mortgage, it would be less than that. So if it's a 15-year mortgage for a $150,000 home, let's say the interest rate is with NACA 1.875. I'm just gonna give some numbers really quick, just so you guys can
Mhm.
see.
Yeah.
Um, and the taxes, let's go with the higher tax being 4,300. Your mortgage payment would be 1,364. That's 15 years.
Wow.
This is with NACA,
For
and I'm
15
rounding up,
years.
so it'd be 1,365, rounding it off
Wow. And I
for
was going to
15.
tell the people, I found some information the other day. The median rental amount for the city of Buffalo for a 3-bedroom is $1,190. Now she's telling you you can get a 15-year mortgage for how much did you say it was?
1365. Just
1365. A 4-bedroom median average rent for a 4-bedroom is 1,334. So $30 more you'd be paying on for a house that is your own house. So that's some of the benefits of what she's explaining to you guys on a 15-year mortgage. And that's a single family house. That's not including if you bought a double, even at that same price. But now you may only have to pay half, well, actually less than half of that. Because if it's 3 bedrooms, you can charge that person that $1,100 and you only have to pay what, 200?
300. Yeah,
300 yourself. So now you're paying 300 and your tenant is paying the other $1,100 for you. So I mean, there's some benefits to being, that double, starting out with a double and by the time if you pay it off early, you can end up getting that house paid off in, 8, 9, 10 years and then go out and buy your single. And now you got 2 rents from that double to help you pay your single family home.
And if you can't afford the 15-year, that's fine. Just again, as we shared earlier, just make an additional payment if you can several times throughout the year, and then you'll be knocking down the years of mortgage you have to pay. So, and then go and just make sure you just call your bank, say, I'm putting this towards my principal. However, they allow you to do it if it's online, or you have to call them, say, I'm applying this payment to my principal, and that will help you have less payments in the future.
Now, what about down payments? Because I heard you mention the interest rate and everything, but how much of a down payment, or is there a down payment program, or how does that work?
Payment. Absolutely, there's no down payment. That's the other benefit.
No down payment?
No down payment. So
even if you bought like a 2 or a 3 unit or whatever, it's
no down payment.
No down payment, people. No down payment. I mean, come on.
And I want to make sure I specify the difference. When people hear down payment, and then there's earnest money deposit.
Right.
So
that's different.
It's 2 different things. So traditional banks require down payment. They're saying that's their way of basically saying you're putting this amount. They want you to pay 20%, up to 20%. Let's say that of the purchase price, and they fund the rest. With NACA, you are funded 100%. So there's no down payment, right? That's so I want to give some numbers for that too. So if, with the same numbers, I want to use the same numbers of 150,000. If some banks will require 3% down payment, and so if you had and these are payments that you're going to have to pay at closing. These are the closing costs when we talk about down payment. Some require 3%. So if you had, if it was 3% on a $150,000 home, that's $4,500, and you have to pay at closing the taxes, and usually they're prorated based on if it's the beginning of the year. It's based on wherever it falls at closing. Falls throughout the year. So let's just say it's still January. You're closing in January. The taxes are $4,300 for that year. So you're taking that 45 and that 4,300. You're adding those 2 together. Along with, you have a minimum required fund is insurance. You have to pay your insurance binder for a year, and I used $600 for the year. So we'll use that same number. So all that comes up to $9,400. So at closing, you would need to have $9,400 in your bank account, along with, and they don't talk to you guys about this. This is another part. You have to have reserves in your bank account for 3 months, 2 to 3 months.
Now, is this through NACA, or is this just through a regular bank?
This is majority of banks altogether. They want you to have at least 2 to 3 months of mortgage payments in your bank account before you close, because they want to see that you're not just gonna not be able to make your mortgage payment in the next month when it's due.
Right.
So these are some of the requirements that you don't hear about. But that is a requirement with NACA, that you do have some money in your bank account at least 2 to 3 months, especially if you're a self-employed, so you'll be able to close on your home. So that is $9,400. But with NACA, there's no down payment, so you're only having to come to closing with $4,900 opposed to $9,400.
So that's what I was trying to understand.
Yeah,
that's a big difference.
It's a big difference compared. So that if you did have, let's say you did have $10,000 in your account, at least you're only taking out the 4900, and then you have the rest to do what? Decorate, paint, do what you want to do,
Anything you need to,
purchase
right? I mean,
appliances, furniture, whatever you may need to do, moving costs. So that's money that can be put in your bank, in your pocket, opposed to, so there's some banks that require 5% down. NACA doesn't, no requirements, no down payments, but minimum required funds, which is taxes and insurance. There is one other thing that NACA, they give you attorneys.
oh,
You
okay,
have an attorney, so that's a savings, is all by itself.
right.
When you have a traditional bank, they do not have attorneys for you. You have to go and find your own attorney.
And that's an
Those costs
additional
can be
fee when
from,
you have to go through the regular banks, right?
yeah, and do not. And I would never encourage anyone to go through the bank's attorney, because the bank attorney works for the bank. There can be a conflict that can happen, that can come up, that could keep you from purchasing the home if it's in the bank's benefit. So you
Hmm.
always want to have your own attorney. So NACA gives all their members an attorney. So you're paying $25 a year, so it's not a month, to have your own attorney at closing. To also, you don't have to pay for the appraisal. Every
Oh, good.
bank, traditional banks, charge for, you pay your own appraisal. So the appraisal is when you purchase a home, just to keep that number 150,000, and let's say you offer 150 and they accepted it. Now the bank, your application goes, you start your bank application with your loan counselor, and the bank says, okay, I'm going to send an appraiser out to confirm that this house is worth 150,000.
Hmm.
And if it is, great. They're going to fund you. They will now fund your loan. But if it's not, then you're going to have to come up. Not always. The seller is going to want you to come up with the rest of that money,
Okay.
so that you can continue with closing on the home. I've had that happen in times, and there's times where sellers have been gracious enough to say, okay, well, you still got a good amount for the home. We'll accept it for what the appraised value was. But that's what's going to come up this next summer. This is what
Hmm.
happens when people are offering 30 plus thousand over the asking price, and the homes have not sold in that area for that amount. You're going to be the one having to come out of pocket, or you don't have to. You can say, I don't have it, and they can say, well, I'm not selling it to you, you know, and they can
Right.
put it back on the market. That can be a plus for them, or that can be a bad thing for them. That's the seller. The seller would have to decide that, and their agent would help counsel them if it's good or not, depending on the amount that's being offered, or depending on the amount that it was appraised for. Let's say that. So those are different factors in, when you're purchasing a home.
So now
So
you mentioned the appraiser and the attorney, and you're the realtor for NACA, so they even get a realtor,
they
right?
don't pay for the realtor fees. There's no realtor fees, and there's no realtor fees for buyers, anyways.
Okay.
So everyone know that the seller pays all the real estate fees. So
Okay. So
that
now, what about inspectors? Do you guys include the inspection fee too,
thank you.
or how does that work?
They don't. That's something they do not pay for. They do not pay for the inspector, even though it is a requirement, because
So
they want to make sure that you're going in a home that's of safety and health, it's up to safety and health codes for your family, and you
right.
are responsible for paying that out of your savings that you've shown your mortgage counselor, in your bank account that you have.
And it is a mandatory that they have to get an inspection done. You said, right?
It is mandatory. So those fees run from 300 to 700, and they have to be a NACA qualified inspector. So when you
Okay.
receive your approval to start shopping, they'll send you a list of qualified inspectors, and you
Oh,
choose from
okay.
that list. You give them calls. I just tell you to, you know, when you call them, just ask questions as far as, do they have a drone to be able to see the roof? The roof is a major piece. You can ask them how many homes have they done with NACA, even with your agent. Those are questions you want to ask. Ask how much they charge, because everyone does different fees. And ask if they charge for re-inspections, because if you get a home and you negotiate repairs with the sellers, and they say, okay, they're going to take care of such and such and such, the inspector has to go back and re-inspect those things and
Right.
make sure they're done. And some inspectors charge and some don't. So those are questions you want to ask.
Okay, that's great. And that's good for people to know because you mentioned all the things you guys paid for. And so people just jump right in thinking, okay, everything's going to be paid for, and then realize, wait a minute, oh, I got to pay inspection fee? No, yes, you have to pay that. So you need to
So
make
my
sure,
apologies. It is
right. But
like
the thing is, they've already put together a team of inspectors that they give you a list of. They don't tell you who to pick. They just give you a list of who they allow, that's under their program. So that way, that that person is actually supposedly working in your best interest. And that's what you want. That's what the whole program is, making sure that you have a team that's working for you and not, for anybody else, looking out for your well-being.
And just to add to that, so if in your inspection, the
Mhm.
inspector shares that the roof is suspect, the electrical is suspect, there's some issues they're seeing in the plumbing, or even in the foundation, you will be responsible for hiring an evaluator to come and see if a roof is at least has
A
excuse me
life.
5 years of life expectancy.
Okay. Okay.
And if it's a structural, like a structural foundation issue, they will require you to pay for a structural engineer to come in there and
Whoa.
that
That's expensive.
confirm. And that can be for the least I've paid, not mine, but I've heard members pay is like 475 on up. So those
Okay.
things are
Yeah.
expensive. So that's where it's important when you walk through these homes. These are things you look for. You want
Right.
a realtor that is going to help you point out these things. You want a realtor that's going to not just walk through the house. They're going to say, okay, I'm seeing this, I'm seeing that. I'm seeing the roof does
And
look suspect. There's shingles missing. There's no
mhm.
gutters. The downspout is not not far away from the house because it is
Extended
required that
away.
the
Right.
they're extended out from the house because you want to keep the
Mhm.
water from going into the basement.
Basement.
You want to look at the electrical outlets because you want to make sure there's GFCI outlets around water. See, I,
Mhm.
I know what I'm
Oh,
talking about.
I know.
Okay, I've been through
But
enough of
and
them.
you know what? And it's funny. I'm listening to you, and I hope the other people are listening to you as well. Because if you can see, she knows a lot about houses. Most realtors don't know. I mean, just listening to some of the things she's saying, you would think she took an inspection class because of some of the things she's talking about. And a lot of times, some of these realtors have no clue about some of the things that you just heard her talk about. And so, now do you work Buffalo, Rochester, Niagara Falls? What areas do you cover?
All of Western New York, all of
Oh,
the
cool.
areas, all from Rochester, Genesee County, all the way over to Dunkirk, Fredonia. I've been all the way up. So
So
all of
can
this
people
around
request you? Can they
Huh?
request you? Can they request that you be their realtor, or how does
Absolutely.
that work?
They can call me. I get my number. You can put my information in the chats. I've never learned how to put chats in this area. I mean, in the comments, but um, I
What's your
give
number? I'll put it now. What's your number?
716
Mm-hmm.
228 6846 and my email. I'm gonna give my Gmail. I prefer the Gmail
Okay.
to so yeah, these are things that you will be required. So that's what if you walk into a house as he's doing that, look at the foundation. Make sure the
Mm-hmm.
walls are not bowing out, or they call or bowing in. I always say
Right.
bowing out, bowing in. Uh,
Some bow out too, though.
it's right. So either way, if you see anything
If
like
you see
that,
bowing, anything bowing, you
then
know
no,
it's something going on.
there's something's going on, and there's going to
Yep.
be a requirement for you to get an structural engineer by NACA because that's going to come up from the inspector.
Yeah.
And those are things you want to kind of you decide if you okay with dealing with or not. You make that
And
decision.
And just a side note for a lot of people know that I've had 10, 15 years of inspections, HUD, FEMA, all those kind of things. And just my view on that is if you as an individual can actually see that Boeing, then you want to be concerned. That if you can see it. Now, an inspector, it's different. An inspector sees it and you may not say, well, I don't really see it. And then they have to point out to you that, oh, okay, yeah, I see it now. But if you yourself with your naked eye can see that Boeing, then you need to be concerned with that. because I always tell people the foundation is what supports the house. That's everything. If you have a bad foundation, then it doesn't matter about the rest of the house, because a bad foundation means you're building on something or you're standing on something that's bad. That's not going to work out for you. And
But
I've
some
gone to
things,
a house. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. No, some things can be fixed. So some things can be corrected because someone's going to correct that and someone's going to move in that house. If it's going to
Yeah,
be, if it's not going to be you, it could be an investor or it could be another person say, okay, there's ways to fix things, but they could be costly.
yeah. And that's why I said those are the things you have. But if they can see it with their naked eye, then they really need to be concerned about it, because that means that it has to be some major bowing most of the time for a regular person to see it. An
Right,
inspector, he might be able to notice it because he's looking for those. He knows what to look for. But
right.
if you could stand outside and you look at the house and you look at the wall and you see the house tilted, then you kind of know that that's going to be some major funding. And I've seen some properties that had some bowing where the foundation wall was bowing in, like you said, but then the framing of the house was actually tilted the opposite direction. And you could actually see it was like, just like I'm showing you right now. The foundation came up here, it was bowing in, and then the house was tilted. And it was like the house was pushing down on the foundation. And I mean, I was just like, wow, that was like the worst I'd ever seen, though.
Mhm.
And
Um,
that was really bad, though. So you
yeah.
just really have to be careful when it's a foundation. Foundation is everything for a house. So you really want to, make sure that you're looking at your foundation, looking in the basement, making sure there's not water coming in or water on the floor, things like that. Those are going to just give you some idea that if you're looking at finishing a basement, then those are something you have to have appraised as well to make sure how to seal that basement up. So that's, again, that foundation is everything for a house. That's where you start, is looking at that foundation to see what's going on with it. And I always tell people, even when they call me or if I do the inspection myself, I always tell them that we start at the foundation. And,
Mhm.
if the foundation is pretty good, or if it's good, or whatever the case may be, then everything else, like you said, could be repaired or worked on. But if it's really a bad foundation with water coming in, or like you said, the drain tiles leaking and
Mhm.
all those kind of things, yeah, your work, is thousands of dollars. Even though it can be repaired, it's thousands of dollars usually,
Very
and so you have
costly.
to
It
add
could
that
be
into
up
your
to
cost.
30,000,
Yeah,
20,000. It could be very costly. Hmm.
imagine that 30,000 you could use towards another house. You know what I mean? So you could buy
Or
another
you
house.
could, or you could negotiate your contract and say, "Hey, and most of the time the seller
Mhm.
knows. They're hoping
Oh yeah,
someone
they
don't
know.
know."
It's funny. I was watching a video the other day. I was watching a video yesterday, actually, two videos, and one guy showed this inspector who was pulling the siding off of a house to find some rotted boards behind the siding. And I was just thinking, and people were like, okay, inspectors don't do that. So
Mhm.
that was one thing. But then this other video I was watching, these guys, and it was really what they were doing. I was just like, okay, they're really getting tricky with these things. I guess these were rehabbers. And these
Mhm.
guys were actually, instead of replacing the roof that needed to be replaced, they were
Mhm.
spray painting it.
Oh wow.
So now you have to be real. That's why when she said about getting drones and going and checking the roof, that's why you want to have that inspector that has that drone that can go around that property and look, take that closer look at things that you may not be able to see with the naked eye. Because I
Mhm.
had never seen that one. That was a new one to me.
Yeah, because inspectors are not allowed to remove stuff usually.
Right. And
They're
that's
not
why
allowed
when I saw that
to.
video about him pulling the siding
Mhm.
off, I'm like, wait, you can't pull the siding off of a house. And if you have an inspector that does that, he's setting that he's your employee. So whatever damages he does, he's not responsible. You're responsible to
Right.
repair that damage that they do. So any inspector that shows up to a property and is pulling siding off of a house, who do you think has to replace that siding on that house, whether he found damages or not? You would be
Right.
responsible. So you want to make sure that you have a qualified inspector. Like she said, they give you a list of the inspectors that, I guess whatever, qualifications they have to have, but you have a list of inspectors that want to do that. But that just stood out to me yesterday that I saw these guys spray painting a roof. And
Wow.
and as they were doing it, because they were saying, and we're finishing up the roof now, we're spray painting it, and so this way the inspector probably won't see it. And
Right.
that's exactly what they were saying in this video.
That's people just try to do some trickery stuff. I've gone into
Exactly.
basements and they'll put, because that's where I usually see the wall going in at is in the basement,
Hmm.
and they're putting up boards up where most of the time people are not going to move that stuff.
Right.
But sometimes if it's not too bad, I will peek because I want my client to be in a home that's safe and know what's going on with the home as much
Right.
as possible. You know, and so yeah, that is all kind of things that be taking place.
Yeah, people know how I feel about inspections. So I mean, I wanted to get on that on the last part, talk about that for the last part, because like I said, it's just I saw that video yesterday, those two videos yesterday, and it really, the first one puzzled me that this guy was snatching this siding off the side of a house, talking about look at this rotted wood. And I'm like, wait a minute, you can't do that. But then when I saw the other video with the guy spray painting the roof, that really, I said, that's what these guys are doing. You have these rehabbers, and sometimes you have some guys that go in there actually do really good work with the rehabs, but then you also have some people that are going to cut corners, you
Yeah,
know.
I see that a lot. So it's like when I see a good fixer upper, I'm like, okay, they did a good job.
Yeah,
You can see it. And then I go into something, I'm like, Lord, they could have did better than this, but okay,
exactly, exactly.
but it is that environment.
That's
Right
why that
now
inspector is important.
the
That's
inspector
why
is
that is
important, and
very important.
it's sad to say it is a seller's market. So some people are buying, fixer uppers and just throwing them together and like, oh,
Hmm.
somebody's going to buy it. And a
Hmm.
lot of times someone will because they're like, okay, they're just anxious to get a home. And like, okay,
Exactly.
I can do this, I can do that, or I got cousins that can do this, or I got an uncle that can do that,
Hmm.
or a dad that can do this, but it's still a lot of work. And
It
contractors
is.
actually are scarce right now.
Yes.
And it is
It's not like it
it's
used
a
to be.
contractor's market now too because
Yeah, it's not.
they're
It's not
they're
like it used to be.
charging higher amounts than usual,
Yeah.
than I have heard in times past. So
Hmm.
those are things you want to be mindful of. But another thing, just as in real estate,
Hmm.
we do use a term. I just want to. There's a couple things I want to share before we
Yeah,
we
go ahead. Go ahead.
finish.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I
I
kind
just
of took
want
us off track with the inspections, but go ahead.
yeah, no, I know that's your passion there, but um, you want to be prepared. So if you're looking for a home, be prepared, especially in the summer. It's very competitive, guys. It's the market. When you see a home listed, let's say a home is being listed for 124, make sure you have an agent to give you the true amounts of what the homes that are similar to that home sold for within the last year, because most of the time is being listed at a lower amount to drag in as many people as possible to have a bidding war. So if you go with the mentality of saying, "Oh, well, I'm just going to give them what they're asking," now, not if it's a multiple offer situation. That means you have to come at your highest and your best offer. If you're not comfortable doing that, for the most part, then if it's a multiple offer situation, you may not win that bid. Just to be honest with you, I want to share this with you guys because you want to be prepared. Um, Offers are going. I was just chatting with a individual out in Arizona. So I don't know who sees this video. This is going to probably go anywhere.
Hmm.
Someone bid it 100,000 over the asking price.
Oh
Yeah,
wow,
yeah, that's how scarce it is right now for property.
a hundred
So
thousand over the asking.
over the asking. Now that could have been,
Wow.
but the thing is, they may have cash. You're contending with cash buyers.
Hmm.
There's money out there. So when people say, "Oh, it's COVID and people are losing their jobs," no, there's some money out there somewhere, folks. I don't know where they're getting it from, but some people are getting it from their 401ks. Some people are getting it from their 403bs. Some people are getting it like parents gave them
Bitcoin,
money. Say it again.
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, okay, all of that. Cryptocurrency is
Yeah.
going on. Um, so just save as much as possible. Um, that with another benefit with NACA, you can buy down your interest rate. So that we have the lowest interest rate already throughout the United States, but you can also buy down your interest rate to the lowest of 0.125.
So what does that mean when we say buy down? How does that work, or what does that mean?
So it's a little detailed, but I'm trying to break it down as much as possible. So you can buy down for a 30-year mortgage 0.1675 for every. Okay, so let me back up.
Okay.
So for $100,000 home, you can, for 1%, you got to buy down 1%. Oh, wait a minute. Let me let me write it down, because it's better for me to write it down while I'm talking about it. Okay, so to buy down an interest rate, you can buy down 0.1675. So if you have right now it's 2.625, did I say? Yes.
Yes.
You can buy down for 1% of the purchase price.
Okay.
So if it's $100,000, that's $1,000 you will need to buy down 0.167%. Okay. 1 point. So that'll bring down your interest rate for $1,000. For that, if it's 1,000. So if it's 200,000, then that's 2,000.
Right.
If it's 150,000, that's $1,500. $1,500 to buy down 0.167% off of the 2.625.
Right.
Okay. So that's what I'm saying.
So now you're saving some interest, right, by paying that little extra.
So right. So that one for $100,000 home, and for $1,000, your interest rate can go down to 2.458%. So that's for a 30-year mortgage. If it's a 15, so 0.167 off of the 2.625, it goes down to 2.458. So if you do that by, let's go times 3 times. So let's go with a 0.167 times 3, that's 0.5. So if you want to buy it down 6 points, well, did I say 3 points? 3 times. That'll bring it down to 2.125.
Okay, so for 1,000 that you pay down, it brings down 0.1.
Yeah, but then for 3 times, that's 3,000.
Right, 3,000. So it's 1,000 for every point you try to bring it down.
For every 1.675, you bring it down.
Okay. I misunderstood, because the first time I thought you said 1.67. I was like, wait a minute, hold up. No. Okay, I see what you're saying now.
0.167.
0.16, right.
That's why I keep saying point, because it's point.
So if you guys want to pay off, say if you want a 2.0 mortgage, then you basically would have to pay like about $6,000 down additional. So that's how you're looking at that. So if somebody who hit the lottery or got a big crypto payment out, you could probably do that and have a 2.0 mortgage on
income tax is coming around the corner.
That's right. That too.
Yeah.
So that could be your income tax down payment and things like that. Again, we have Lakia's number. It's in the chat. Tell them your email.
Lakia A. Perry @gmail.com. Lakia, Lakea A. Perry @gmail.com. I also have Lakia.Perry@NACARed.com. So I have 2. Lakia.
I put the first one.
Okay, that's cool. All right. Yeah. But I have 2.
Okay. You can give them the second one, because I just put the first one in the box, though. But you can tell them the second one again.
Lakia.Perry, Lakea.Perry @NACA, NACA, red.com. It's the real estate department.
So again, So anything in closing that you want to tell the people? We're going to wrap it up. But again, before we do, I just want to thank you so much for making your house your home, because I tell people this show is all about you. A Better You Lifestyle Inc., which is our nonprofit, which we just started this year or last year. And this is what this show is based on, A Better You Lifestyle. And I just want to let you know, guys, we're going to be bringing in different people to talk to you. And I wanted to bring in Lakia because I knew that she would come in with a wealth of information for you guys, first-time home buyers, and just give you guys somebody you can connect with who's in Western New York. Like she said, she covers all of Western New York. So I'm bringing you the best of the best as often as I can. And so I'm going to let you close out with a couple, whatever you need to close out with. And then I'm going to do a little closing myself. And then we're going to be out of here.
Yeah, no, it's just important. Don't wait to get a real estate agent. Get one now. Work will start, so they can help coach you on, what to do in this, process of you trying to purchase a home and the area that you're interested in, so you'll know how much it would cost to afford a mortgage in the area that you're interested in, and you also just be mindful. I say I just shared this statement with someone. It was the first time they heard it, and I've heard this before. I thought it was new to me, but you can't have champagne taste and Budweiser money. You know what I mean? So
True. I
just be
heard that.
mindful that the more that you can afford, the better the home that you'll be able to obtain. But the less that you can afford, the less that you're going to be able to, it's the quality of home is not going to be there,
Right.
just to be honest. So, if you're okay with fixer uppers, okay, great. Then then you can find something that you can work on, and make it your own. But if you look for something you just want to move right into, now you're going to have some, be
Some
able
money.
to afford at least,
Mhm.
let's say 900, and actually I want to say 1,000. To be honest, it's really increased in these past few years. At least be able to afford 900 on up in mortgage.
Mm. Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna say
So
900,
you figure
depending on the area.
$1,000. If they count on $1,000, then they'll be prepared for, basically. That's a good number to you would think.
1,000 is a good number to
Okay.
depending again on the area and their taxes.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
yeah.
Great.
And
Anything
also,
else?
and if you and as you're looking for a real estate agent, everybody's not for everyone. Everyone is not for everybody. So if it doesn't work out, that's okay. Someone did think that they had to stay with their agent. It's not an agreement. It's not a contract. It's an agreement. So if you're
Mhm.
not getting along with someone and that you don't think they're working on your behalf, to where you think they should be, you can always send them an email and just say, hey, it's not working out for me. I'm gonna work with someone else as my agent. But thank you, for your services, and move on. You don't have to stay with that same person, and they will not receive compensation if you found a home. So I did have someone to say that to me today.
There you go. So again, I want to thank Lakia for coming onto the show. Again, this is A Better You Lifestyle Inc. or A Better You Lifestyle, the show, making your house your home this week. Again, this is a nonprofit organization. We function on your donations. If you'd like to make a donation to A Better You Lifestyle, you can make a donation through Cash App at cash, the dollar sign, and then Better You Lifestyle. That's tax deductible. So you can make a tax deductible donation, and that's going to help us to be able to do the show as well as some of the other programs and things we're going to be doing. We're going to be having some community events. We're going to be doing some workshops, and I'm actually working on a couple other things I'll talk about as I put them together. Again, A Better You Lifestyle, physical, personal, and financial development. It's all about you. Thank you again, Lakia, for coming onto the
Thank you,
show.
Willie.
And
Thank you.
I will see everybody next week. And we will be doing what is next? Is that a fifth? I think we have a fifth week, no, our fifth Sunday. Let me before I
I
hang
think
out.
you're right.
We have a
30th.
yeah, we do. We have a fifth Sunday. So next week it'll be our fifth Sunday in the month of January, and we're going to do a grab bag. So we're just going to talk about a little bit of everything next week. So I'll come on and I'll throw it out there. If I get some questions or some concerns before that, then we'll talk about that. So if you have any suggestions, hit me up on them, and we'll do something on a grab bag next week. If not, then I'll come up with something myself. Again, you guys have a blessed day. And for all those Bills fans out there, go Bills. And I will see you guys next week. Take care.
Thank you.